Hi, welcome everyone to the fourth module of Diversey training series on infection prevention. My name is Claire Khosravi, and today we're going to talk about one of the regulations associated with our chemical disinfectant, which is the Medical Device Directive, soon to be Medical Device Regulation. So I'm going to share my screen and we will start in a minute. So as I said, we will discuss about the CE marking according to the MDD. But first, I'm gonna just briefly introduce myself. So I have a doctoral degree in microbiology and molecular biology. In Diversey, I'm responsible for the full range of professional level disinfectant for the infection prevention portfolio. I also provide consultation or microbiology on application, on EN test application usage to external customer. And I also deliver training program for our sales, marketing, technical manager, and application specialist. So today we're going to talk about CE marking and medical devices. So this is the fourth training module. And first, let's start by some introduction. So what is CE marking? So CE marking is a legal mark. So manufacturers claim that a product meets the essential requirement of all relevant European directive for certain group of devices or product. So the directive define its size and appearance. But what do the letter CE stand for? The CE stands for Conformitè Europëenne. CE marked product can be sold freely throughout the European economic area, and CE mark is not a voluntary quality mark. It's not owned by any particular notified body. And what's the European Economic Area? So it's the European Union plus the EFTA. And of course, the objective is a single market. So it's to harmonize the technical requirement, to remove the national barriers to trade, and the free movement of goods and services. So who are the players? So first we have the European competent authorities. So 27 of them. And then there are several names. UK CA is MRHA, NL CA is CTGB, etc. So then we have a second player, so the EU Commission, situated in Brussels. And then we have the notified body, around 70, probably this number has changed, but they are located in almost all the member states. And lastly, but most importantly, the manufacturers. So the manufacturer is responsible for the design, the manufacture, the packaging, the labeling, and placing the device on the market. But how does it work from the manufacturer to the application of the CE mark? So first we need to wonder, is it a medical device? Is the product that I want to put on the market, is a medical device? Which directives apply or which regulation? Then what is the classification of my medical device? Which conformity assessment route I should take? Then we need to prepare all the technical file that is required, the conformity assessment, and then of course we need to receive a certificate if everything is in order, and the regulatory affairs director is able to sign the declaration of conformity if everything is in order, and then we can be allowed to have the CE mark on our label. Conformity assessment by a notified body. So it's important to talk about the quality management system. So the ISO 13485. So what is the ISO 13485? It applies to organizations in the medical device industry that are involved in the life cycle of the medical device. So manufacturers that either design, develop devices, produce devices, install devices, and service devices. And this standard is used by organizations who wish to implement a quality management system in conformance with the MDD, soon to be MDR. So they are linked between each other. It's a quality management system which is completely needed for the right implementation of the MDD or MDR. Notified body involvement. So we have discussed about the player into this CE marking according to the MDD. So we have the European Commission, the European Competent Authority, the notified body and the manufacturer. But the notified body involvement is different depending on your device. So the higher the risk for the device, the more notified body has to be involved. So the first class of medical device are the medical device class 1. So the risk is very low, and therefore there is no notified body involvement. For example, a cleaner of medical device is a medical device class 1. Then the second level of medical device is the class 2A. And there, the notified body is involved. That means that the manufacturer is audited by a notified body at least every year, as a minimum. And for example, a cleaner disinfectant of non-invasive medical device, such as oxyrexel wipe, is a medical device class 2A. And then we have higher medical device class, such as class 2B or 3. 3 is the higher the risk of the device, and it can, for example, be a pacemaker. But as I said, we talked about the medical device directive, but next year we are expecting to have the medical device regulation. So the medical device regulation is entering into force in May 2021, so this year. CE marking directive. So there are many directives, but of course here in this training module, we are only interested of the medical device directive and medical device regulation. So this is going to happen in May 2021. But what are, let's say, the main differences between the two? Here you can just see high level the differences in terms of content. So the MDD did not have any chapter, only 23 articles, 12 annexes, and 60 pages. The medical device regulation, which will start in May 2021, has 10 chapters, 123 articles, 17 annexes, and 175 pages. And here you can see a timeline of the MDD to MDR transition. So due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the MDR transition has been postponed of a year. It was supposed to be May 2020, but it has been postponed to May 2021. But what is a medical device? It's important to understand what is a medical device if we want to make sure that our product belongs into this category. So it's medical device means any instrument, apparatus, appliance, software, implant, reagent, material, or other article intended by the manufacturer to be used alone or in combination for human beings for one or more of the following specific medical purposes. So it can be diagnosis, prevention, monitoring, etc. But the key point, medical device, the principal mode of action must be physical as opposed to pharmaceutical. So pharmaceutical product does not fall under the MDD MDR regulation. Must be used for humans only, not animal. The product needs to have a medical purposes, and it can be software if it fulfills the above. Few examples of what is not a medical device. For example, laser used for cosmetic purposes, colored contact lenses with no corrective function, handset to prevent scalpel cuts, alcohol breath test for police use. There are a number of good advice in documents such as MDD, so you can really have a look. The classification. So we have discussed about the notified body involvement that will differ depending on the class of your medical devices. And here on this picture, you can really see some example of the difference of medical device and increasing the invasiveness and associated risk. So the more invasive is your medical device, the higher will be the class. But why is it important to classify your medical devices? Classification ensures that regulatory control match to the risk. The proper selection of routes to the CE marking. Manufacturer is responsible for the classification, and of course, it goes with an agreement with the notified body. The classification criteria, so it's the duration of the contact of the medical devices, so either transient, short-term, long-term with humans, the degree of invasiveness of the medical devices, implantable, surgical, body orifice, the anatomy affected by the medical device, and whether the medical device is active or non-active. But the most important how to classify a medical device is the intended purposes. So what is the intended purposes of your medical device? And then we need to confirm that it is a medical device together with the notified body if it's a class higher than 1. We need to understand the definition, the implementation rule, and we need to decide what is the ruling of our medical device and classify. So in the case of oxyverxel, oxyverxel is a cleaner disinfectant of non-invasive medical device. So that means it can disinfect medical devices from class 1 to class 2A. 2B is excluded, because 2B means invasive medical devices. So we have two intended purposes for oxyverxel white, for example. So in the previous training module, we discussed about the biocidal product regulation, the BPR, which is linked to one of the intended purpose of oxyverxel. So oxyverxel is a cleaner disinfectant of non-porous surfaces, and that falls under the BPR bucket. And oxyverxel is also a cleaner disinfectant of non-invasive medical device, which fall under the MDD MDR bucket. But the distributor, so what is important to know as a distributor? So distributors have general obligations, which are all written within the MDR, but few of them. So when making a device available on the market, distributors shall, in the context of their activity, act with due care in relation to the requirement applicable. And before making a device available on the market, the distributor shall verify that all the following requirements are met. Another important point is that the distributor shall ensure why the device is under their responsibility, storage or transport condition comply with the condition set by the manufacturer. Few other general obligations of a distributor. I'm not gonna go through all in detail because you can find them in the MDR, but some are very important. So the distributor shall cooperate with the manufacturer. It shall ensure that the necessary corrective action to bring the device into conformity, to withdraw or to recall it as appropriate is taken. So where the distributor considers or has reason to believe that the device presents a serious risk, it shall also immediately inform the competent authority of the member states in which it made the device available, giving some details in particular about the non-compliance or any corrective action that has been taken. The PMS. So what is the PMS, post-market surveillance? So this is a very key point into this new regulation MDR. And it is really important when you have a CE mark. So, and after the CE mark, you need to do and to maintain your technical file and your quality management. So you need to also perform your post-market surveillance, the vigilance, and this will be checked by your notified body during the surveillance audit. But what is the post-market surveillance and why is it so important to discuss about it during this MDD MDR training? Post-market surveillance, it means all activity carried out by a manufacturer in cooperation with other economic operators to institute and keep up to date a systematic procedure to proactively collect and review experience gained from device they place on the market or put into service for the purpose of identifying any need to immediately apply any necessary corrective or preventive action. So in summary, the post-market surveillance really is important to collect in a proactive manner any feedback, review experience gained from the market, from a customer, from sales, any feedback. And in the MDD, post-market was only a few lines, but the MDR plays much stronger emphasis on post-market surveillance activities. And the EU MDR really emphasizes management of these post-market activities, the relationship with the clinical evaluation and investigation, and really requires the manufacturer to have a defined formal plan for handling the post-market surveillance activities. But why do the PMS? So the post-market surveillance system should be suited to actively and systematically gathering, recording, and analyzing relevant data on the quality of the medical device, the performance, and the safety throughout its entire lifetime, and to drawing the necessary conclusion to determine, implement, and monitor any preventive or corrective action that will be needed. What we should collect, many type of different inputs. There is no rules on about those inputs, so it can be information concerning serious incident, of course, including information from periodic safety update, reports, field safety corrective action, records referring to non-serious incidents, record of trainings, feedback from those training from the customer, any feedback or complaint provided by a user, distributors, or importers. Vigilance, which is also very important, which means that we are monitoring any recalls of medical devices from our competitor and why they have done this recall. Questionnaire, quiz sent to our customer, market survey, voice of customer, fairs and conference feedback. So in conclusion, without all of those inputs, a manufacturer can lose the CE marking. So the technical documentation and post-market surveillance to be drawn up by the manufacturer is very important, and it should be presented in a clear, organized, and readily searchable manner, and it is mandatory. So within Diversey, which medical device do we have within our infection prevention range? So we have our Oxivir range, which is class 2A medical device based on accelerated hydrogen peroxide. We have a certificate according to the MDD valid until May 2024. And then we have two different other product range. Class 1 medical device, the Sumamed range. They are medical instrument cleaning. And we have another product, which is a UVC disinfection machine, Moonbeam 3 disinfection technology. Both of them will be MDR ready by May 2021. So I would like to thank you for your attention for this third training module on MDD and MDR. I will be really happy to discuss with you during the next training module, where we're going to talk about AHP, so accelerated hydrogen peroxide, and our Oxivir product range. If you have any question, please ask your Diversey representative. Thank you for your attention.